Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you today, especially after a sweeping victory in securing the passage of the USA Freedom Act. I want to thank my friend, colleague, and partner in this effort, Senator Pat Leahy from Vermont. You know, Senator Leahy and I come from different political backgrounds. We come from different parts of the country, and yet we agree on this issue. Like a number of other issues, we found this one to be one that is neither distinctively Republican nor necessarily Democratic. They're not necessarily liberal or conservative. They're just American issues. They're constitutional issues. Issues involving the proper role of government and the scope of government authority. We were just visiting on the floor with our friend from New Mexico, Martin Heinrich. As one western state desert dweller said to another, Senator Heinrich said to me, you know, for those of us who live in a desert, you have to really enjoy the thunderstorms. And we're very much enjoying the passage of this bill, which is now passed with a supermajority. In fact, what would be a veto-proof supermajority in not just one, but both houses of Congress. We appreciate the support we've gotten from Democrats and Republicans on both ends of the Capitol and from the White House. This is a monumental victory, and one victory of which I'm especially proud and very pleased to have had the opportunity to work with Senator Leahy in this.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Mike. And, you know, as the most senior member of the Senate, I've seen a lot of battles, a lot of fights. It is so nice to see something where senators come together in the way I used to see when I first came here to the Senate, Republicans and Democrats working together. We passed the most significant surveillance reform in decades. We've done it by setting aside ideology, setting aside fear-mongering, said we will protect the security of the United States, but we also protect the privacy of Americans. We talk about the desert states. I suspect you have the same sense of privacy in your state that we do in ours. I've told this story before, but Marcel and I, our home is on a dirt road in Middlesex, Vermont. Our nearest neighbor, some distance away, a farmer who's known me since I was a teenager. He hazed the fields during the summer. And there's one article printed about me in a newspaper went just like this. Reporter on a Saturday in an out-of-state car. Says, Senator Leahy lived up this road. Farmer said, you a relative? Nope. You a friend of his? Nope. He expecting you? Nope. Never heard of him. We like our privacy. We like our security. We like our privacy. I am sorry that it's taken so long. I am sorry that we did not get it passed before the bill expired. But, and here's the important thing. It passed in a bipartisan way, and now both Senator Lee and I have talked about other pieces of legislation that we'll work on in the Judiciary Committee and elsewhere that can also pass with a bipartisan majority. It is time to set aside the rhetoric, face reality, do things that count. Thank you.
Can you describe a little bit about the future legislation?
About the what?
The future legislation you're interested in working on regarding
Well, there's the one that you...
Yeah, so there are a couple of bills Senator Leahy and I are working on. One of the bills we're working on is the ECPA Amendments Act. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act was enacted in 1986. Yeah, sure. The Electronic Communications Privacy Act was enacted in 1986, and I'd ask everyone in this room to just think for a minute about what you were doing in 1986. I was in the 9th grade. My family didn't own a personal computer. If we had, it would have been one of the computers common at the time, something like the Commodore VIC-20, which couldn't really do anything. Nobody had email except for a few people within government offices and maybe a few colleges or universities. Very few even knew what email was. So there was no such thing as cloud computing. People didn't store emails for large periods of time. But the Electronic Communications Privacy Act contains language in it that basically says to the government that it can read your email without a warrant as long as that email is more than 6 months old. Now, this is wrong. This is an antiquated sort of vestigial organ within federal law. and it needs to be changed. So Senator Leahy and I have teamed up to get rid of that archaic provision.
I was here when that passed, and at that time, I know, I shouldn't say, but at that time, everybody assumed that if you had something on a computer, an email or something, you didn't have enough capacity. 6 months is going to be gone anyway, and so they're very unlikely to have anything there. Nobody could have foreseen what we have today. And I think what Senator Lee and I want to do in revamping it and modernizing it, first, protect the privacy of Americans, but secondly, do it in such a way that it's flexible enough as we get new and different kinds of electronics, new and different kinds of ways of communication, we protect all of it. We have to protect Americans' privacy. We can do that and still keep us secure. If we don't protect Americans' privacy, I would say we are no longer secure. And I'm going to, yeah.
The Senate Majority Leader just said that the Senate and House have just passed a law that has greatly diminished the national security of this country. How do you?
Well, the head of NSA has supported this law. The Director of Intelligence for this country supports this law. Attorney General supports this law. I don't think any of those three people want to see us diminished. Again, we come back to this point. We will protect the security of Americans. But if we give up our personal rights and our privacy, what is that security worth? Thank you. Unless you want to add anything.
Let's do one more question. Sure. We've got to get through me. Yep.
Sure. So you guys got 67 votes. There were a handful of votes a handful of senators that voted no because they didn't feel the bill went even far enough. So that's basically 70 pro-privacy votes in the Senate, which I think is interesting because the Senate and really Congress in general haven't really been a place where privacy, frankly, has been a priority. You talk about your EPA reform bill that has a lot of support if it ever got a vote, but it doesn't get a vote. Is this an indication of senators being more in touch with privacy in the digital age, or is this just kind of a one-off national security thing where people are going to vote how they vote?
I think you have to ask each of the individual senators why they voted the way they did. Again, I go to my background. I was born in Vermont. I was raised in Vermont. My family's been there since the 1800s. We have always valued privacy. We don't worry about being secure. We stay secure. But we want privacy. And I think the American people are feeling more and more that way. There's suddenly a way that everybody's tapping into what they do, everything from the places they shop to the cameras they see watching them. Let's not let our government do it. I was a prosecutor during the era of J. Edgar Hoover, and I saw what could happen if you let somebody go into other people's privacy. Can you imagine if somebody today had the powers a person like that did? Fortunately, we've had very, very good FBI directors since then, appointed by both Republican and Democratic presidents. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Quick, could you just comment just on the majority leader's handling of this? I mean, you've listened to him the last couple of weeks. Is he, listening to what he's saying, is he out of step with where the American people are and where members of his party are on this issue?
Not sure I understand the question. What is it you're...
Senator McConnell, listening to what Senator McConnell said today and what he said over the past 2 weeks on this issue, is he out of step
Well, look,
with the American people and members of his party on these issues?
so it's no secret that Senator McConnell and I disagree on this issue. He has his opinion. It's not one that I share. At the end of the day, his preferred approach was not able to garner enough votes to move forward. Not anywhere near enough votes to move forward. And so, and this relates to another question that was asked a couple of minutes ago. The votes just weren't there. You cannot get to 218 votes in the House, and you could never get even close to 60 votes in the Senate for any kind of, quote-unquote clean reauthorization of the Patriot Act provisions at issue. And so those votes speak for themselves.
And I've been here 41 years. I've seen a case where people voted different than I have on some issues, the same way I did in others. I think senators have to vote the way they think best. The most important thing is in a nation like ours, you had 100 men and women who stood up and voted the way they thought best, and we saw the way it came out. I don't fault the majority leader. I don't fault anybody in there. I'm saying that it was good we had the vote. Now let's get the bill signed by the president. Thank you.
Thank you.